Coming up on Daytime, selling homes in the ATL.
Is it kind of like the Real Housewives of Atlanta, only in the real estate world?
You know, it is, well, it is a mixture. I'm going to say a mixture of kind of $1 million listing and Real Housewives.
Plus the best. All right, we're going to get to our first guest now. She is part of the newest reality show on WeTV called Selling It in the ATL. She is a real estate agent, but she's using this platform in a way to bring awareness to something very near and dear to her heart. Take a look.
I have been licensed for about 16 years. Took a little bit of a hiatus. Really looking forward to, you know, coming back eventually and hopefully working with you guys.
Gwen has years of experience. Grandma Gwen, I think that's the name that she has gotten.
Gwen Boyd Moss's son, JoJo, now 20, was diagnosed with autism at a very young age and also diagnosed with schizophrenia when he was a young teen. Certainly very challenging. And now she's using the show, and her family are now putting the platform out there to talk about this disease.
That's right. Welcome, Gwen.
Welcome.
First of all, let's talk about the show, and then we're going to get into your son, which is a very important story, and your message is very important. But the show is selling the ATL.
Selling it in the ATL.
Selling it, and you're selling it, right?
We're selling it.
So is it kind of like the Real Housewives of Atlanta, only in the real estate world?
You know, it is, well, it is a mixture. I'm going to say a mixture of kind of $1 million listing and Real Housewives of Atlanta, or Married to Medicine, if you're familiar with that show at all.
Sure.
So, you know.
A lot of cattiness.
We're doing business, and we're doing it with some drama.
Now, did you find the show, or did we find you?
We actually
WeTV
reached out. A friend of mine actually called. They did a huge casting call of agents in Atlanta, and a good friend of mine who actually is on Real Housewives came back this year. She called me and said, hey, you know, I know you're going back into the business. This will be a great way to kind of go back and boom your business. I had been asked to do some other stuff, really wasn't big on doing it. But with this, it seemed like a really great opportunity because it was a business show. So, you know, my daytime job is real estate, so why not, you know, boom my business a little bit more, and then of course, you know, also talk about some of the things that I'm really, really passionate about.
Right, and let's get to that, because this is all about your son JoJo. We mentioned he's 20 years old now.
Yes.
He was diagnosed at a very young age with autism. Did you think that your life was falling apart at that point? Which one is JoJo here, by the way, in the picture?
He is the one directly next to me on the left with the huge smile.
The tallest one there.
The tallest one, yes.
And so he was diagnosed at what age?
He was diagnosed with autism at age 3. Then at age 13, had a huge brain cyst, as if we hadn't gone through enough. Shortly after that, he was diagnosed with the schizophrenia.
Now, explain how that started to manifest itself.
Well, you know, the autism, I knew something was wrong basically because he did not talk. He had several characteristics. He would do this hand flapping thing, which I thought was just the cutest thing in the world. Come to find out that was a characteristic of autism. And he would line up his toys and he would color coordinate them. Well, I thought he was a genius. I'd call my friends, he's going to be a genius. You know, he's color coordinating his toys. Come to find out.
And a lot of autistic children are.
They do that because, you know, they're very structured based. And so, but after he did not talk, I realized, okay, I need to go to a doctor. And I remember sitting there and filling out this huge pamphlet. I'm sure all parents are familiar with it. Does your child flicker with the lights? Does your child look in the mirror? And you're answering and you're like, yes, but you know, long paragraph explaining it all. So I think the biggest thing for me in the beginning, which all parents go through, is a denial piece.
Sure. But thanks to therapy and a lot of great doctors, he was able to talk at the age of 9. What was that like for you as a mom to hear him speak to you for the first time? And what did he say? He
actually said a sentence. So it wasn't like one word. I remember it like it was yesterday. He said, want to go to the movies and get popcorn. Well, I couldn't grab my purse quick enough. I was like, let's go.
Probably had been absorbing like a sponge.
He was.
For all of those years. And then at what age did the schizophrenia start to
The schizophrenia came in at 14. And I'll tell you, for anybody that has a family member or a child that with schizophrenia, I mean, it has to be the most difficult mental health disease that you can possibly think of.
Sure.
Because you're not just dealing with, you know, the autism or the one, you know, person. My son hears 5 different voices,
Wow.
you know.
Wow.
Some are fun, and you see him pacing back and forth, and he's laughing, and then there's that mean voice that
Not so good.
can be very violent, and that's what you hear about a lot of times on the news.
You wrote this book to address a lot of these issues.
Yes.
Was this a way for you to help deal with what you're going through, as well as to share with other parents?
Well, definitely. It was something, you know, the whole reason, and this is actually the first book to a series. It's called My Special Friend. So, there's Mr. Autism, Can Andrew Come Play? There's the Bipolar Bandit Has Captured Ben, and then there's Angelina and the ADHD Fairy. So for me, you know, my kids are great. His brothers are great. They embrace him. They love him. They don't hold any resentment, which is very hard when you have one child that has a disability.
And it's getting the most of the attention
And
as
getting
well.
most of the attention, and sometimes shutting down events that you go to. You're at a game and he has a meltdown and you've got to leave.
Is he able to integrate now into with medication? Is he able to integrate
Yes.
into society now and into
Yes.
school?
Yes. He is
That's good news.
mainstreamed in some of his classes, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to do a whole lot to really get him there. And sometimes you have good days and sometimes you have bad days. And so
Just like on Selling It in the ATL. Some days they're good, some days they're bad. I love the eye rolls. Well, Gwen Boyd Moss, thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for sharing your
Appreciate
story,
it.
and it's
Yeah.
important.
Thank
I'm
you
sure
so much
a
for
lot of
allowing me to.
people who share the same experiences can really relate to
Yeah,
this.
and where
Thank
can
you.
folks find your book?
you can actually find it on my website, GwenBoydMoss.com. Everything for me is Gwen Boyd Moss, Twitter, Instagram, everything.
We'll also put
And
the
then-
details on our daytime Facebook as
That'll be
well.
great.
And our
Thank
site.
you.
Thank you for being
And
here.
by the way, Selling It in the ATL airs on WeTV Thursdays at 10 p.m.
Yes, don't want to miss it.
We'll be right back.